Oh, yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, we're live. Hello, we're live. We're always messing with our do not disturbs and whatnot. Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jason. You've got that awesome. You should be that broadcaster voice, right? Me too. We should maybe we should do a podcast together.
What a good idea.
She's hey, so and so used to do a podcast. Voiceovers, whatever. We can do voiceovers. Today's gonna be fun. I didn't give everybody the deets on what we're doing, so it's it'll affect the market. But I forgot to. Hi everybody, I'm Katie.
I'm Jason.
I'm a real estate advisor, and he is
mortgage lender.
And I'm on location today in Central Phoenix at my sister's house. So so we've got some things it's all going to be kind of like new news today. It's going to be interesting because there's a big thing going on. And you guys, Jason is the fella. I can never get it right. Jason's the fella that knows all about it. He knows how to describe it. And he uses some big words sometimes too.
Okay, you're going to help me with that then.
Yeah, I am. All right. What's going on?
So it is this is going to be a time that people will read about in their history books. It's happening right now. And I think so many people don't really know what it means or how it's happened or whatever. You've probably seen in your news feeds all kinds of stuff popping up about GameStop, right?
It's a bunch of shenanigans, I heard.
Bunch of shenanigans. It's just crazy talk going on. So let me tell you what's happening. Okay? GameStop is a company.
What is GameStop, first of all, for those people that don't know it? Because not everybody plays video games.
Yeah, so GameStop is a retailer. It's a national brand. They have lots of stores in malls. And what they do is they engage in the sale of video games and consoles. But the other thing that makes them unique is they'll buy those games back from gamers and then resell those titles to different people. So
they sell it new, somebody buys it, they bring it back, and then they sell them used.
That's right. So let's say that I went down and I bought a video game. In the old days, it'd be a little disc. I'd go home, put it in, I'd play it for a month and a half, beat the game, and then what? It would sit on my shelf. I'd never play it again. Right. Well, what GameStop did is they said, look, we'll take that game that you're never going to play because there are some people who didn't buy it new. We'll buy it back from you at a discounted price, and then we'll resell it to somebody else who basically wants to buy that game. And they make a profit on the spread.
It could have been new to someone. But you could buy it used, play it, still bring it back. So they can just continuously resell and resell and resell.
Of course, yes. Okay. But here's what's interesting. GameStop, their business model is really changing because a lot of these video game companies like Microsoft with Xbox, PlayStation, they're beginning to deliver their content electronically. So
like Tesla, right?
Yeah, you don't even have to go to GameStop anymore. You can just buy it online, download it, and you never have to leave your couch, right? So it makes it harder for GameStop because more and more people are not buying the physical discs. They're just downloading the stuff onto their computer and going down around the road, right?
Okay, so this is interesting because like Office 365 has turned into that now. You used to buy software that you put on your computer and it was a one-time buy. Now you got to do a yearly subscription. Yeah. So, but like Tesla, right? Like you can download it and then you just have like StreamYard, guys, that we're using. StreamYard is streamed through the internet only. There's no software. There's nothing I have to do, and you don't even have to have a password. I just log in with my my email, and they give me a code each time. I have to redo it. So.
And they even have retailers out there that will sell subscriptions to their content. So, for instance, Electronic Arts. Major manufacturer of video games. They do all the sports titles, the Madden NFL football, stuff like that. You can pay a monthly fee. I think it's like $6 a month. And then you get a whole bunch of their library that you can just play. So you pay $6 a month. You don't buy video games, but you get to download whatever titles they make available on their EA Play. So GameStop has been under pressure because the question Wall Street is asking them is, look, this is your revenue stream.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, and you look to me like Blockbuster Video. So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to replace that revenue? And so here's what's interesting. What has happened is Wall Street, and specifically hedge funds have looked at GameStop and said,
What's a hedge fund? What's a hedge fund?
Hedge fund it's an investment group, generally with very high net worth individuals that put their money into this fund that people manage. And generally what that fund does is it makes more risky investments. So it's going to take things that they're not going to necessarily go out and buy your shares of Walmart and then just wait for Walmart stock to go up. They're going to go out and they're going to do some pretty creative things to get higher returns. Now there's more risk, but with more risk, there's more reward, right? Yeah, that just keeps going, doesn't it?
You're so popular, Jason.
It's supposed to be.
Ryan Reynolds is texting me. Give me a minute.
So, yeah, hold on. Go away, Blake. Anyway.
My texts are cooler than your texts.
So here's what's happening, right? Investors are looking at GameStop and they're saying, we don't believe in this company. We think that this company is going to lose money and we believe that their stock price is going to go down. Well, how do you make money on a stock if the stock goes down? And so what a hedge fund will do is they will engage in a process called shorting the stock, okay?
Is this what that Robinhood app thing did? Is that a hedge fund?
No.
Okay, so we'll get to that later. We'll get to that
in a second. So what they do is they go out and they say, hey, listen, what we want to do is we want to borrow some shares of GameStop. We're going to borrow those shares, and then we're going to sell those shares of GameStop. Okay, so let's just pretend for a second, and I don't know what the number is, but let's just pretend that stock is trading at $10. Okay, what they believe is that stock is going to fall from $10 to say like $2, right? So they believe that there's going to be a spread that it's going to fall. So if they borrowed and sold that stock at $10, waited for it to do what they thought it was going to do, let it get to $2, and then they bought those shares back. Okay, they sold at 10, they bought at 2, so they made $8 on the shares that they borrowed, right?
Right.
That's a pretty big investment, or that's a pretty big gain when you stop and you think about it, right? If it falls far enough. And so that's what
I have a question of a layperson. So basically, you buy it at 8. You explain that to me, because you're borrowing money. But then when you give it back, you're making money. So you're basically making money for free. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. If I sold at 10 when I bought at 2, did I make money? I bought something for $2.
Well, yeah, you said they borrow the money first in order to buy it, correct? So they're not even using their own money.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So how do I get
So here's where it gets interesting, okay?
Who wants to give me $1 million? I'll make some investments.
Yes. So here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
There were a bunch of guys sitting on their couch at home playing their video games, and somehow they figured out that this hedge fund was basically shorting shares of GameStop because they thought that the value was going to go down. Okay.
Wow.
Well, gamers. Okay. So they like GameStop, even if they don't use them as much anymore. It's a gaming company. So this thread started on Reddit where a whole bunch of people got together and they said, you know what? These Wall Street guys, they're picking on one of our favorite stocks.
Yeah.
You know what, let's go buy shares of GameStop, because if you buy shares
on your couch, just because you're sitting on your couch playing video games at home doesn't mean that you don't know how to figure this stuff out, right?
Right. And so what happens when there's more demand for something? What happens to price? Price rises, right? So the more people buy, the higher the price starts to go. Okay. Here's where it gets interesting. So go back to the hedge fund. They've sold at 10 because they thought that it was going to go down. But
right.
Now what happens? All of these people out there are buying up GameStop. So that $10 goes to 12.
They drove the price up.
Goes to 50. So what happens is I've got a sell position now at 10. And if the stock goes to 50, for me to close out that position, if I sold at 10 but I have to buy at 50, what just happened?
You lost $40.
You lost $40 on
that. If you have a lot of stock.
Yeah, in our hypothetical. And that is exactly what has happened. So what's happened is mainstream America, guys at home on a computer looking at their deal said, forget these Wall Street guys. We're going to go buy this stock and we're going to push the price up so that they can't make money with this going down. The hedge fund that was doing this short has lost billions of dollars and declared bankruptcy because they can't cover the position. They don't have the money.
So when the price goes up, it's bad for people that have the stock. That's what I'm not a stock person, obviously.
So
not just the binary.
It's good for the people who have the stock. So if you own GameStop, it's really good for you because the price is going up. But if you took a short position on that stock,
because you sold it too early.
Yeah, and so you have a borrowed stock that you sold.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because what happens?
You're losing money.
Sorry, because like it's for the people like us that aren't mathematically minded. So because what you're saying is, if I borrowed money from you to pay this, if I borrowed $2 from you, and then I sold it at 10, I give you back your $2. I've made 8. But if I've borrowed this money and the price keeps going up and up and up, I don't quite get how that you can't cover that. Like, wouldn't that be money?
Because you have to buy that stock back. You have to buy it back after you've sold it. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's put it this way. Let's say that I had this new handy dandy cell phone right here. Okay,
like I do.
Yours. Let's say you didn't have one. Okay, then let's say that you said, "Hey, Jason, can I borrow your cell phone for a week? Will you let me borrow it from you for a week? And I will give you one back that is exactly like this.
Okay.
It's same model, same everything. I'll give you back the same phone, but I need you to let me borrow this for a week." And you said, "Okay." So then you went out and you took this phone that I let you borrow and you sold it to somebody for $10. Okay. Then a week goes by, and after that week, you go to buy that phone back. You were counting on being able to buy that for $2, right? But instead of that happening, you have to give me my phone back because you told me you were going to give me my phone back. So a week from now, you had sold it to somebody else for $10, but now you have to replace my phone and you have to buy it back for $50, right?
Got it. Now, yeah, I've lost $40. I've lost $50 actually. If I borrowed the money from you, I've lost it all.
Yeah.
Or I've lost 40 because I sold it for 10. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Hold on.
Wow. Okay. So I guess, did the people that are sitting on their couches that wanted to drive the price up, that was a mistake then, right? Jason?
You know what, Katie, you're breaking up. I can barely. Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Lost you there for a second.
Okay.
It was like weird. I tried to change my
sisters now, so I don't know what's going on.
Go ahead. What was your question?
I said, so the people that were sitting on their couches that drove the prices up, that ultimately was a mistake then to do that because, right?
Well, here, hold on one sec. It's still breaking up every other word I'm getting. I think what you're asking is were you asking if it was a mistake on the hedge funds part? Is that what you're saying?
No, on the people sitting on the couches fund part.
No, the people sitting on the couch, they're getting rich. They're making a ton of money. What you're watching is people organizing and causing stock prices to go up, and they're making money off of the stock prices going up. And here's the reason why it's crazy. It's crazy because there's not a law, at least that I can think of, that they're breaking when they do it. It's not that what they're doing is illegal. It's just never happened before.
Okay,
and so the question now is, what is the SEC going to do about it? And here's where Robinhood comes into play. This is what's really interesting because you asked about Robinhood earlier.
Robinhood's an app that people were using to trade stocks, correct? And it was supposedly free.
That's right. So that's right. So let's say you wanted to buy stocks. You might open up a Robinhood app. The reason why it's named Robinhood is because it's for people like you and I, and we want to have access to the marketplace, and we want to just click a button and buy stock or whatever it is that we want to do, right? So what's really interesting is Robinhood last week came out and restricted shares of GameStop and said, hey, you can sell the shares of GameStop, but we're not going to let you buy any more shares of GameStop.
Yeah, I literally watched that last night, and that's the way they got around it was they were being accused of not letting people buy anymore, and they didn't necessarily say, no, we're not. They didn't say that. They just said, we still allow people to sell GameStop.
Right.
Just kept going around it.
But here's what's interesting. For them to take that position, the inference and what most people are thinking is that there's a ton of pressure from the big money on Wall Street to say, look, you guys need to help us out, and you need to keep these people from getting access to make our losses even greater. Well, and so here's the thing. There's a logic to it. There is certainly a logic to what Wall Street is saying, because these are unnatural movements in the market, and these are billions of dollars that are, at stake with different things. And so the reason why this last week has been so absolutely fascinating is because we don't know how it's going to end, and we don't know what it's going to mean for the future of investing, but you can bet your bottom dollar that something will happen. There will be some legislation or something that's going to take root to try to stop what it is that's happened this last week, because too many powerful, important people are losing way too much money that they're not going to go to the government to try to create something to prevent this. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. I hope all that made sense.
Yeah, me too. I was, if people have questions, later on, obviously, Jason, I'm sure is the one to answer these questions, not me. This is why we work together. He's the numbers guy. I'm the house gal, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so I forgot my phone battery today. I mean, my computer battery. I actually broke it. I'm at 28%. I'm doing good. Okay, so here's the deal. We've got some weird in the news things. You want to hear about that? You guys, like I said, if you have questions, just let us know, because we're done talking about that. Is there anything you want to add about that before we get off that subject? Like, is GameStop the only one, or is and that's not legal, like you said? Can Robinhood prevent people from buying? Is that legal?
I don't know. I don't know that they can.
Like you said, there's gonna be a lot of stories.
But they did. Well, and here's what's interesting. One thing I would add. So the people have figured out that this is an interesting way to, either A, make money, or B, really stick it to Wall Street. So now they've gone out and they're actively researching the companies that these hedge funds have these short positions on. So for instance, stocks you're going to want to watch, AMC Theaters, right? How much money do they have?
One of the things. Yeah. Okay.
AMC Theaters, Carnival Cruise Lines.
Wait, don't tell me.
Yeah. Some of these companies that are in trouble that these hedge funds are taking these short positions out on. Now everybody's like, well, maybe we should buy that because that's where the money is.
Yeah, because maybe this will happen.
Let's go buy a company that's going bankrupt because we can stick it to Wall Street. This is
good. See, we got a question finally. So Jason, do you want to read that one out loud?
Yeah. Wall Street is frustrating. Free market is not free if people can't buy specific stocks. Brian, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing that's really, frustrating. And here's why people get angry. Okay. The reason why people get angry is because these hedge funds go out and they move billions of dollars in and out of stocks. They're moving stock prices all around. They're doing sophisticated trades like shorts. There's other things that they do. And then when the guy like you, Brian, or I, or whoever wants to invest in the stock market, or Katie, right? The reason why it feels bad is if we start winning, if we start making money, and it's at the expense of the man of Wall Street or whatever, and their thought processes that they're going to just shut it down. That's what feels so bad about what's going on. It makes us feel like the game is rigged against us. So that's the thing but again, on the same token, right? There has to be some measure of regulation. I mean, we learned that in the 1920s, right? Whenever there were massive runs on banks, and after 9/11 and the stock market just started going absolutely crazy and trading off, they will halt trading if things start going too bad. These are safeguards that they put into the market to, protect from panic behavior and things like that. So there are bigger things that are going on here, but the root of what you're saying is true. We live in a free market economy. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but that's what's going on.
I think that one of the word that you use that is most relatable to people is we feel. that this is happening, right? So this is what's happening even with the big companies. Now, a company is an inanimate object. A company can't feel it in itself, but the people in it. And so it's interesting how this is funny. I feel like we're at like the genesis of something crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to change how we are able to buy and invest, maybe, which I totally want to learn how to do.
Yeah, I believe that we are going to see significant change in how we can buy and invest. I don't see nothing changing after this. I think that there's going to be some change that occurs.
Then it's going to be better or worse on our part, just the lay people, you know?
Well, I think it depends, because a lay person could be, the dude in Reddit on Reddit in mom and dad's basement. Like, there are people who have made a ton of money off of, things going like this.
Interesting.
But we haven't seen the end of the story either, right? I mean,
right.
GameStop itself, their issues are the same that they were last week before this started, right? Like, they still have a business model that's predicated on declining revenue. Like, GameStop has to figure out how they're going to right their ship. They haven't done that. They're still in a situation. And so at some point, right, the party's over and everybody's going to leave GameStop, and they're going to have, the empty keg over there, the used bar, confetti all over the floor. They have to clean that up, right? And nobody's going to want to be the last person standing. So a lot of people are going to have this stock that has been, bought up to this unnaturally high price.
But they can't do anything.
Well, it's going to have to come down, right? Like, is everybody just going to stay in GameStop? Because what happens when GameStop doesn't post earnings to merit the share price that it is? So,
right. That's so interesting.
Yeah, the story's not over yet. That's the thing that's most interesting about it, is the story is not over.
Okay, so hedge fund folks have always argued for free market. Now they are screaming foul. Hard not to be upset over my freedom being taken on hedge funds. That's what I seem to see.
Yeah.
It's a really good.
And that, Brian, that is, in my opinion, that is the general consensus. I hear what you're saying. Artificially inflated stock. That's what it is. It's an interesting situation. It just fascinates me to know it.
Well, I had two in the news things today because I wasn't sure how long it would go, and it has to do with money, so it's interesting. Okay, so here's the first one. Thank you, Jason, for your insight on that. And I'm still like, what? What? But I'm a little more educated because of you, just so you know.
There you go.
Okay, so again, I have one of these stories. What? Okay, so a guy. Now listen to this. His day started out really bad. So the title is, Man Discovers $2 million Lottery Jackpot Hours After Crashing Car. Man discovers $2 million lottery jackpot hours after crashing car. So here's what happens. It was January 27th. He's in North Carolina, and he got into a car accident. He hit a deer, okay? So he's driving to work the day after the Mega Millions drawing when something happened that made him decide not to go to work. I hit a deer with my brand new car, he said. So I got mad. I went back home. I got into bed and I went to sleep. And then I woke up and I checked my tickets. I checked the ticket and I saw that the next number and the next number and the next number, the ticket matched all 5 white balls in the drawing for a $1 million prize. And he selected the mega option when buying the ticket, which doubled his jackpot to $2 million. So he says, it feels great. I'm going to fix things on my mother and father's house and get my car fixed. Pay it off and pay my niece's stuff. But like, you just start out your day like, I just bought a brand new car, hit a deer, this sucks, go home. Now I got $2 million. So I don't think we have enough deer in Phoenix for me to search out.
Halloween, baby. Coyotes.
Find this man's luck. Okay, so now this story, this is interesting because this is all dealing with this stuff. And this has to do a story with Bitcoins. Have you heard of this guy? Stefan. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see here. I've got. Okay, hang on. Let me make it bigger. Sorry. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. La, la.
It's not uncommon to forget the password to your email or maybe a social media account. But for one man, the stakes are higher than most. His forgotten password is costing him millions of dollars. San Francisco resident Stefan Thomas lost the key to unlock his digital wallet that holds 7,000 Bitcoins. That translates to a whopping $220 million. The correct password is locked in a hard drive that gives users 10 guesses before it locks forever. Thomas has only 2 more tries to gain access to his fortune.
A lot of people are offering various solutions. Everything from the silly to for example, one person suggested, have you tried the word password?
Yeah, duh.
So that was one. Some people have recommended various mediums, psychics, prophets that I could talk to.
Try anything, I guess. Thomas is not alone. The New York Times reports $140 billion worth of Bitcoin appear to be lost or stranded in digital wallets.
I bought a few Bitcoin back when it was, $12 a pop. And they said, oh, isn't that cute? And now it's worth millions of dollars.
Ian Scherer is the editor-at-large at CNET. He suggests using a password manager app to avoid any password or money mishaps.
Okay, hang on. You think?
Golly.
Can you imagine? So, and this kind of goes along with what we're talking about, right? This kind of stuff. But and I don't really understand Bitcoins, and we don't have. But this could be something. If you understand it, this could be something we could talk about later. Because I heard Bitcoins crashed and then it came back, so I don't know. But I can't. If this 220 million is legitimately his, I don't understand. Is it because nobody's actually running Bitcoins? How he can't get he can't do a password reset? That's what I don't get. That's crazy ass news.
That's the whole purpose of Bitcoin. The whole purpose of Bitcoin is that it's anonymous. It can't be tracked. It's all electronic, and it's not anything. The only reason why it has value is because people have bought it. But that they do that on purpose. It is intentionally set to where if you lose, your thumb drive or whatever that has your Bitcoin, or if you lose your password or somebody's it's gone forever. That's the whole point of it.
Brian, that's what we said. LOL. Where's the reset password button?
My mom gets frustrated when she can't remember her Netflix password. Mom, it could be worse, I promise.
Well, to me, that's a crazy story. I can't, there's no way. And then it says he's made peace with the fact that he may not ever be able to reach his 220 million. How is that possible? How do you turn Bitcoins into real money? Can you transfer that into your bank account? Is that real money? I know it's a question. You
sell your Bitcoin to somebody else, or
so how do you use it outside of Bitcoin? Do you buy stuff with it? Can I buy a house with Bitcoin? What does this 220 million mean?
Here's what's really interesting. I'm glad you asked that question. Can I buy a house with Bitcoin? I had a borrower once upon a time who owned a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and for his down payment, so think of Bitcoin like an investment. If you went and bought gold, okay, you can't give me gold and buy a house. You can't.
Right.
But what you can do is you can sell your gold for cash, and then you buy your house with the cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is that he did with Bitcoin. So he had his Bitcoin that he had purchased, and then, of course, the price went up. He turned around and he sold his Bitcoin, turned it into cash, and then wanted to use that to buy a house.
How do you turn it into cash, though?
You can sell it. I don't know specifically because I don't have Bitcoin.
This is something we need to visit later, I think. But interesting story. I just don't know how this guy can be. I'm at peace with not having my 220 million.
Easy for me to go, I guess, right?
And what kind of a guy can't remember that password?
Oh yeah, seriously.
They probably don't have a suggested password, but it's I have the same 6 passwords I revolve or whatever. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine though? You have 10 tries and you get to the 7th one and you put the wrong one in to get what does the panic level get?
Right.
A triple 8.
Right, and I have passwords I save in here in my phone. Right. That's that. And to me, that's a super important one. Especially it's just crazy to me though. It's just crazy that this thing's out there and there's no person that's hi, I'm the Bitcoin CEO. Let me help you out. You know what I mean? No.
Right.
That'd be like losing your $220 million lottery ticket. You didn't know, right? You never knew it won and somebody found it and then wins the lottery. What do you do?
Yeah.
So anywho. This has been really fun. This is really good information.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to put we are weird in the news. Weird in the news.
Weird in the news.
Jason, I bet you didn't know this. You ready for this? You ready to read this out loud?
Katie, I love your socks.
Jason, your socks are my favorite. I love them so much.
I love your socks. I don't know what I.
Everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.